Hello, friends. This is a beautiful day to be outside. And since I haven't been out here to do a lot of video and recently because the weather has been so different, I'm out here today. And what a beautiful day the Lord has blessed us with. And as I just shared in an earlier video where I was taking a ride in this fancy little slingshot, I just wanted to say how thankful I am for the life that God has allowed me to live. You see, when I say nothing is impossible with God, I really mean nothing is impossible with God. God truly is able to do exceedingly and abundantly more than we could ever ask or imagine. And as I sit here today on the eve of my 73rd birthday, I feel so blessed. I feel so blessed for the lives that I have touched and the lives that have touched me. The young man who took me for the ride is Jeffrey Williams. His mother is Louise Williams. I met them at the Salem Institutional Baptist Church over 50 years ago. And Jeffrey was wasn't even born, but he came along and I got to know him in the youth ministry that I was responsible for. What a joy it was to talk to those young people and encourage them on their journey, to let them know that even though I didn't know nearly as much about the Bible then, or even how God moves in our lives then as I know now, but I'm grateful for the opportunity to have to share with them and to see him now as a productive young man and living his life in his own way and doing such great things. I am pleased and proud to have touched his life. We never know what we're doing when we do things. And that's why I encourage us not to get discouraged or even slow down because the days may be difficult. It's a time like no other to stay engaged, stay in the midst of all of life's realities and know that God knows the plans that God has for you. There are plans to prosper you and to give you a future with hope and not to harm you. I learned this. Traveling this journey called life. And in almost 73 years, I want to say God has taught me so much. Most of all, God has taught me I can depend on God. God has blessed me to live and to have two full careers, one with city government, 25 years, and then another 28 years, some of it crossover time, within the church ministry, and now as a retired pastor to serve on boards and agencies and to have the opportunity to encourage people along the way. And most of all for me, this YouTube opportunity to say to people that nothing truly is impossible with God. Whatever you want, it is yours for the asking. God says, to ask, knock, ask, and you will receive. And so it's up to us to live this life, to live it with joy, to live it with peace, not to look over and see what someone else has, but enjoy what God has given to you. And you know what? You don't have to be competitive. The only person that we really need to compete with is ourselves, to be better self than we have been. And God allows all of that to happen within our lifetime. I am so thankful for the opportunity now to just serve the church, just to be there and lead the prayer ministry at Salem Institutional Baptist Church, to have my charge conference relation with the St. Luke Community United Methodist Church, to know that I accomplished those goals of ordination. And I just want to tell you that I'm wearing a shirt. I'm one of those t-shirt people. So this t-shirt says Australia. I had the opportunity of going to Australia as my retirement trip. Wow, what a ride. Never thought that I would ever see Australia. Wanted to see the Great Barrier Reef. Didn't get to see it because they said you're in the wrong part of Australia to see it, and they invited me to come back again so I could. But I did see some barriers. I saw barriers in the water that were just so beautiful, plants underneath this glass bottom boat. God has so much in store, so much God wants us to see and experience and be a part of. So don't live your life looking back. Look forward, because what is in front of you is more than what you have left behind. Walk away from it. Walk away from the disappointments. Walk away from the trouble. Walk away from people who thought they could hold you down. Walk away from people who attempt in many ways to block your path. Because whatever God has for you, it is yours, and no one can take it away from you. I am so grateful for the life that God has allowed me to live. And just let me tell you this part, because I shared it a few weeks ago in a Bible a class that I was teaching on prayer. And what I said to them is that I was praying for success in this community called Sherman in Denison, Texas. I didn't know what God had in store for me, but I was a new pastor there. I wasn't making a lot of money, but I wanted to have the opportunity to continue my journey and doing my ministry. So I was asking God to give me the opportunity to get my little churches on TV. Well, what God did for me was, I'm sitting in a meeting one day. I'm sharing just the details of a breast cancer report that I was given for the Grayson County. And at the end of the meeting, this woman followed me out. And she said to me, "You have the nicest voice. Would you like to do a TV talk show?" I said, "Oh my God, yes." She says, "Well, take my card and call me." I could hardly wait to get to my house and to get on my phone and tell people that I'd been asked. But the next morning I called the station and she said, "Why don't you come in and see me?" And she showed me around the station and she said, "This would be the place we would film you. We do the show right here in our building. Our cameraman will take care of you." And oh my God, I had no idea what I was going to do. But let me tell you, I called the show Talk of the Town. And while I was there, I interviewed every agency, black agency, ministry, everything that people of color were doing in Sherman and Denison. And you know what happened? I got invited on the NBC affiliate there in Sherman, Texas, early morning at 5:30 in the morning to talk to them. And they wanted to know, how did you get this? Where did you get this idea? Well, it just came to my mind. I wanted to do this. Didn't know how it was going to happen. But you see, we ask for one thing and God gives us so much more. I was able to televise and talk about every church's ministry in the community, not just my church. And I was able to interview pastors and leaders and brotherhoods and associations, just gave everybody visibility. And I was told, I didn't see it happen, but I was told, because I was the only black show in the area, that some of the teachers used my video in their classrooms to show children what was possible for them. You see, we never know what God is doing. And I am so excited about that. I'm so excited. It's one of the most exciting times of my life. And I am so grateful for that opportunity. What I want to tell you is this. If we have the idea, God can bring it to fruition. We may not know how or when or whether we can even afford to do it, but God is able to do exceedingly and abundantly more than we could ever ask and imagine. So I am a witness that if we try God, trust God, God will prove God's self to us, that with God, nothing is impossible. My friends, I don't know what it is that you are trying to make a decision about today. Maybe my little witness sounds shallow and narrow to you, but for this girl, it was pretty spectacular. I ran that TV show for almost 2 years before I left Sherman, and it aired twice a week on Cable One. I was honored and I was blessed. And you know what? It's a part of my memoirs, and it's my story, and I'm sticking to it. I hope you'll write your own story because God has it in you. Tell it, let the world know what God has done for you. Because for me, being the little barefoot girl out of East Texas, and to have had the opportunity not only to do my talk show, but to travel the world, I can only say nothing is impossible with God. Will you walk with me? Will you try this God with me and come to know that truly whatever you desire in your heart, if you're willing to work hard enough, God will bring it to fruition. May God bless you. And let me just say this. This is the beginning of my birthday weekend, and I just wanted to share this story with you before I take off, because I'm on my way to Myrtle Beach, South Carolina, early tomorrow morning. I don't know whether they'll have weather like ours, but if it is, I better put my swimsuit in the suitcase. God bless you. I look forward to seeing you soon. Goodbye.